They make lots of money and still don't feel free. And the reason why is because oftentimes for the middle class, when their income increases, so does their spending.
Wake up, it's time to be free. Wake up, what's blind, now I see. Wake up, it's time to be me. Wake up, my mind is the key.
Wake up, it's time to be me. Wake up, my mind is the key.
Welcome. It's Julian Gordon with another episode of the Daily Jules, where I drop nuggets of wisdom to help you increase your degrees of freedom. Does not matter how many college degrees you have. The only degree that really matters is your degree of freedom. Does not matter how much money you make. What really matters is how you actually make money. So today I want to talk about how sometimes rich people are not wealthy and how sometimes people who aren't quote unquote rich are actually wealthy. And I want to introduce you to a framework that I created called the income asset grid. The income asset grid. So today I just want to show you four types of spenders. Four types of spenders. Okay, four types of spenders, and there is one type that you definitely want to be. Usually you want to be up and to the right, and I'm going to guide you through this framework today. Okay, so there are four types of spenders, and there are people out there who make lots of money but still don't feel free. They make lots of money and still don't feel free, and the reason why is because oftentimes for the middle class, when their income increases, so does their spending. And so freedom actually begins to happen when there's a gap between your revenue, right, which you're making from your employer, and your expenses, right? But if your expenses rise with your revenues, then you don't have that much freedom. You may be making twice as much as somebody else, but you don't have that much freedom. So somebody who's making $60,000 a year but lives off of 40 actually can have more freedom than someone who is making 120, right, but living off of 100. Okay. Now, I want to make it clear that oftentimes, especially around tax season, we call what we get from our employers income, but that is not income. That is not income. See, if you look in a business context, in business, income equals revenues minus expenses. Okay, that's what income equals. But what we tend to do with employment is we call it our income tax, right? We call it our income tax, but what you get from your employer is not your income. What you get from your employer, your paycheck, is actually your revenues. Then you have all your expenses, right? Your mortgage or your rent, your car note, your food, travel, etc. You have all your expenses, and your income for an employee is actually what is left over at the end of the month after you've paid all your bills. That is your income. You see, it's trick. So you have to be very careful about the language that you use when we are talking about wealth. An employee, their paycheck is not their income. Their paycheck is revenues. Their income is what's left over at the end of the month after they've paid all of their bills. So this is why somebody, again, who makes 60 but lives off of 40 can actually feel freer than somebody who makes 120 but lives off of 100, right? Because this person who's living off of 100 actually needs more to be happy and to be fulfilled, right? They're accustomed to this kind of lifestyle than the person who is comfortable off of 40, right? So the real interesting thing about that is that the less money that you make right now, the easier it is for you to be free. It is hard to make commitments like a 30-year mortgage and then lower your lifestyle, your standard of living, right? But if your standard of living is actually pretty low right now, you're actually more comfortable with that. And so I'll give you an example. When I finished college, I didn't say, oh, I got this degree, I need to go get this, and this now. For a period up until I was 30, I kept living at the level of a college student. In terms of my expenses, I kept living at the level of a college student. So my expenses stayed here, but during that period of time, my revenues, right, as an employee at that time were going up. And that's actually what created the freedom for me. But most people, again, when their income, when their revenues start to go up, their expenses start to go up. And you may feel like you may be actually making more money, but you're also spending more at the same time, so you don't have that much freedom. So let me introduce you to the income asset grid. Oops. Okay, income asset grid. And here's how it works. Okay, so there is high assets, low assets. There is low income, and there's high income. Okay, so where we ultimately want to be, obviously, is high assets, high income. And somebody who has high income and high assets, because usually the income comes before the assets. Usually you earn some sort of income, or it's actually your revenues. You earn first, and then you buy and you put that money into assets. So somebody who has high income and high assets is prospering. Okay? Prospering. And I want you to find out and find yourself in this chart, because we all fit in here somewhere, right? You might not fit squarely into one box. You might be on the line or something like that, but you'll find yourself on this chart. This is ultimately where we want to be, up and to the right. Okay. Now, somebody who has high income but has low assets, how they are living, the type of spender that they are a partier. I don't know how to spell party. I'm just going to put partying. They are partying. This is how they're moving through life. They're partying. They have all this money coming in, but they must be spending it, because at the end of the day, they don't have any assets to show for all that they've earned over the course of their working life, right? So they're partying. They're just getting it and blowing it, right? Bottle service, popping champagne, and it doesn't have to look exactly like a party with music and bottle service, right? But somehow, some way, it's getting blown. Whether it's you go into their closet and you see a closet full of shoes, clothes that are unworn, a car that is really above where they are in terms of their actual standard of living. Like, that you shouldn't be driving that car yet. I know the numbers look good, especially when you combine two people's quote unquote incomes, right? But you shouldn't have that kind of car yet. Or sometimes people just buy us a house that is too big for them at that particular moment in time. They just want it all now. Okay, so there's partying manifests in many different ways. Now, low income and low assets is where a lot of America is, and this is what I call poverty. These people are being punked, right? They're being punked by this system, and that is poverty when you have low income and low assets. But guess what? There's some people who have low income but have high assets. And these people are being prudent. They're being prudent, right? They know, look, I'm not making a ton of money, but of the money that I do have, I am putting it into assets that end up paying me and sustaining me. So instead of getting a single family home, I got this little duplex in a neighborhood that wasn't amazing, but it's on the up and up now. And that duplex, the other side, the rental side, actually pays for my mortgage, right? I didn't have a mansion or anything like that. I live simple, I live small, but I'm being prudent. And so the path really is going from here to here to here. If you have a rude awakening, you can go from here to here, but usually the path is here. And so wherever you find yourself in the income asset grid, I want you to figure out how, one, you can actually increase your income, right? But that's not always the solution, because you could increase your income and end up here. You want to increase your income, but really you want to figure out how to go from low assets to high assets. So assets are things that pay you, right? A rental property pays you. Stocks and bonds can pay you. When I account for my real estate, I don't think about appreciation, because that's not in my full control, right? Other things that can pay you, stocks and bonds, intellectual capital that you have, licenses, any type of investment, your own business can actually pay you and can be an asset, but ultimately you want to get out of the business. For it to really be an asset, it has to be operating and producing income for you without you actually being physically there. So think about where you fit in terms of the income asset grid, right? Do you have high income, low assets, high income, high assets, low income, low assets, low income, high assets? And always be trying to move your life towards the upper right. If you do so, and you commit to a plan for 10 years, I guarantee that you can get here in this box of prospering. And this is what I want for all of you. I want not poverty, I want prosperity. All right. So this is Julian Gordon with another episode of the Daily Jules. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next episode. Peace.
I hope these mindsets, metaphors, and methodologies blessed you. If you desire more freedom, go to getfreenow.com to subscribe to the show on iTunes, YouTube, or Facebook, and get 4 of my best courses in the Freedom School for 100% free.